Hello again. Thanks to everyone who has commented and liked the last video. And so it's time to deliver. I'm going to try to talk about running and try to make this quick. Maybe make it 10 to 15 minutes. And okay, so this is the kind of run I'd like to do. And first thing is I talked earlier about a pendulum effect. And by that, here, let me just start a new, I'm going to start a new page up here and throw on the paper there. And there we go. And lock, oh, I want to set that to hold mode and lock that. Okay, so once again, I'm using TVP Animation Pro. I'm going to throw on my ground here. I do things from the side perspective just because it's much easier to illustrate some of the problems. And once you do, later I will get into doing 3D stuff. But for now, yeah, let's get into that pendulum effect. So earlier when I was talking about the aspect of walking, right? You have this tall mass, and there's a pivot point here, and the whole thing just pivots, and you have a toppling effect, right? So this thing just falls down this way. And I was originally treating this as just one solid rigid object. But what you could also do is you could break this thing down right at the knees. Break it right down at the knees. And if the character bends his knees, the knee and the ankle, so the ankle and the knee, just like that, right? Now the topple is occurring further down here. And of course, as a result, the top is also going to, right? The top is also going to go down by the same arc. Right? So that means at the top of the head over here, right there, that's where the top of the head is going to go. There we go. Right? And then down here, the top of the head would be here. If the person goes completely on their knees, that's the geometric the geometric relationship. So the topple doesn't have to go over the entire person's body. If you flex your knees, then the topple shifts, from the top of the head to the knees will shift down like that. Pretty simple. So when I show you things like run cycles or walk cycles, I show you how to start it off from a standing pose, because you're having to deal with transitions. You have to transition from a dead standstill to running, or from a dead standstill to walking, or to jumping. And sometimes you'll be doing transitions between run to jump, or from jump to run, from jump to stand. You're having to deal with all these transitions, and you can only understand this when you understand the mechanics of what's going on. You need, it's not something that can just be, it can be boiled down into a formula, but the problem is the formula only applies in one place. So, it's important to understand the mechanics behind all this stuff. So getting this person to run, I'll start them from a dead standstill, right? But I will choose kind of the break point for, where the hip and the knee is. Throw on a frame here, and then let's just, there we go. And that, so I look and see how much has that turned. So that means the head also turns that much. And throw in another frame, and same deal, right? Just keep it going. And at this point, I can begin to allow, right? Just keep that there. I can just let the other knee come forward, right? So maybe in a previous frame, I can begin to raise, right? So the other foot, both feet originally were matched up. Now I'm pulling them out, right? Can you see that? There, and there. That's that leg coming out. In fact, I think I'm going to, now I'm flipping because I'm trying to adjust, right? I'm trying to adjust from these two, right? And I'm doing this to help me see, how is it moving? Do I like the movement? Right? So there's a lot of this kind of judgment. In fact, instead of keeping the body upright like this, right? If I want to go into a run really quickly, let's just continue, right? So I'm going to continue. And you'll notice that I don't really care about keeping this thing clean. Having it clean, it's not illustration, right? This is about the physics of the movement, and I'm trying to simulate and get nice physics. I'm seeing that things are elongating. So again, problem with animation is that you have to maintain volumes. You can't get, you have to be able to move things around without changing their size. All right. And then let's go in and throw in another frame. So there's that. Now here's another thing. In this case, all I can do is, let's go to the blank frame, right? All this is going to do is it's going to just go whap, right? It's just going to stretch. And there's no jump in this run whatsoever. It's just a person, you're just going to have this character go whap like that, and there's going to be no leftover momentum, to get them to get that foot off the ground, and there's no jump, right? So this is almost like playing QWOP, QWOP, right? This is just like playing QWOP right now. And so when you try to animate a run, you realize, oh, we're not doing something, it's not working, the guy's going to fall over. So I can't just have him go down and then, stretch him out and then have him, fall and topple and then just end the topple, because this is just like what happened with the walk cycle. So instead, what I can do is, here, let me just clear away these frames, get rid of them all together and throw in a new frame, is first go into the flex. And in this case, I'm not going to worry about the rest of the body yet, right? So we can do this in pieces, right? Get it to flex. And in this case, you'll see that there's already a slight slant, right? This leg is elongated, stretched out. There's no slant. It's a 90-degree, incline. Now I can slant and contract the leg at the same time. Throw in another frame, right? And just keep that going down, right? And now at this point, I've got a coiled leg. With the coiled leg, I can begin to, let's throw in another frame. Right, so coiled leg. Now I can elongate that leg, right? So now here's the jump off, right? So I'm going to stretch that leg out. So the difference between walking and running is that with running or even sprinting, there's an aspect of the leg that coils and uncoils like a spring, right? There's a spring off. See that? And now I can just keep. Now here's another thing, right? If we look at the point here, look at this point and follow its motion, right? You've got this. Can you see it? Right? So I'm going to flip that back and forth and you're going to see it, right? So there's that curve. In fact, now I'll turn on the onion skin. Let's turn it on. And, so you can really, really see it. Right? So this point, look at the top, right? That's what we're going for. We're going for, this kind of a jump, jump, jump. But again, the reason I turn off the onion skin is, what if your guy has a peg leg? What if one leg is longer than the other? I'm trying to break out a formula, and I'm trying to make sure that every single frame that I add, I flip and I test the motion and I see, does it feel right? You can't get that sense of motion without actually seeing it in motion. That's why I avoid using. Okay, now to get the other leg in there. So what I see is, in this case, you notice this? I'm not going to draw the other leg from up here. I don't know exactly where that leg's going to go. So what I'll do is I'm going to fast forward to maybe here, where I can see and sense that other leg, where that other leg is going to impact. Now I can see the length of the stride, right? Not perfect. So I'm going to adjust it until it is, or until it feels about right. But there. And I go to the next frame. And in this case, if I've got a hip mass here, maybe what I need to do is I need to carry that hip mass forward. So let's get that hip mass in there. So we're propelling, right? Remember how I said that animation in the previous video? I say that animation is about propelling a mass, the hip mass and the rest of the torso. That's the mass that we're going to propel. And that mass, I'm trying to keep that mass in a constant motion, left to right, like it's going to gradually accelerate, but just keep the foot anchored. Keep that foot anchored there. Best thing you can do with this stuff is practice. Just feel that. Add another frame, and this time in fact, I'm going to carry that forward. We're at 10 minutes. Throw on another frame. In fact, there's not a whole lot of bounce in this run. You'll see it's actually a very linear run. It's actually a really efficient run. It's because I'm not this character is not wasting energy bouncing up and down. All of this energy is being directed horizontally. And once they're up to speed, they're simply maintaining their velocity. They're maintaining that momentum. Right? They're not wasting it on bouncing up and down. And all the rest of the leg movements are just there to keep them from completely falling over. The moment those legs stop moving, they're gonna go right on the ground. So, I'm just gonna let's throw in another frame. And here's the other thing is that as you work, right, whenever you're doing animation, you'll start to find what are the root parts, what are the roots of the animation, what are the fundamental parts that are really driving the mechanism, what are the important parts of the mechanism. And you'll notice that I'm only drawing those parts. I don't really care about drawing the rest of the body at this moment, because these are the pivotal, the most important parts, the parts of the machine, this running machine that is doing all the actual work. So and once you have that, right, now that I have all this going on, okay, so let's rewind it, right? And as I rewind it, I've got those missing, there's that missing leg. So maybe what I'll do is I'm going to so I'm working backwards. So this is the other thing about animation, in that you can work both forward and backward. You're not always starting at frame 1. Sometimes what you do is, if you're having trouble with a frame, go to a frame where you can picture the pose and it looks correct, and then work backwards. All right, so what I'm not showing you right now is how to do the perfect run, and this is the run. What I'm showing you is a process for developing a run. And maybe it's more than one type of run. You're going to have a character who's tall, who's short, who's fat, who's skinny, who's carrying a heavy weight, who's, doing, that's what I hope you can take away from this video, from this tutorial, is I'm not going to show you, do it like I do it, make the same run I've made, but instead I want you to analyze things, like I'm analyzing, right? That's all I'm trying to do, is I'm just trying to get you to understand the mechanics behind the run that you're trying to create, and don't fall into formula. Make your own formula. Make the formula that works for your character. Find the formula for your character. It's like this stuff, you don't get this from books. You can't learn this stuff, just from a book. You have to do it. Now I'm looking at that, right? And of course, you'll notice probably in my previous, running attempt, right? I just was doing this. Now he looks kind of like a running phallic object. But the thing is that it shows the lean and it's faster. And in this case, I can get a better silhouette. Oh, we're running out of time here, so I'm gonna just, right, get that silhouette to read, right? So this is where you go. So first you get the mechanics working, then you start to get the silhouette to look good. Right, so in this case, I'm just taking all these masses and now I'm merging them together. In fact, I think, right, but that's better, right? So, you try to find, the silhouette afterwards. That now I'm making things, look more nice, more like an actual person and not so much like a skeleton. This is the next step, right? Here, I know I'm going over time, but I figure maybe I kind of owe it to you guys to show you kind of the next step of cleanup. I hope that helps. Anyway, I got a phone call and I'm over time, but I hope that helps.